Horlicks Network 18, Mission Poshan, Bhavishya Roshan.
Hello and welcome. You've joined us on Business Lunch. I'm Nisha Podar and with me is Mangalam Malu. Mangalam, good afternoon. It's not a pretty picture at lunch hour today. In fact, markets clearly losing steam. So take a look at Nifty, Sensex, both really racing towards the lowest point of the day. Some bit of recovery in the last 5 minutes of trade, but still it is looking weakish at this point. Bank Nifty, that is also in line, and it's the mid-cap index and that particular universe which is down once again. The biggest worry is coming in from this particular pocket. But what's clearly fueling the markets is Reliance Industries. In fact, yesterday also it was giving a huge amount of support. Today as well. In fact, you should take a look at the 7-day chart. The last few trading sessions, Reliance Industries has been incessantly going up. On the other hand, the reverse momentum is being shown by Bharti Airtel. Had a weak day of trade yesterday and today as well is down. So that's the contribution for you. What's really helping the market, what's not. But Street is really punishing some of the bad names or some of the negative news coming in, and 1% is down yet again. Advanced decline breadth is really in favor of the declines, Mangla.
Absolutely. You know, third day of exaggerated weakness for our markets and third day of isolated weakness for our markets as well. Because if you take a look at the Asian markets, they opened fairly mixed. But then from there, we saw recovery come by from the lows. So most of the Asian indices ended in a fair amount of green. There you have it. The Shanghai index actually picked up pace and ended close to around 0.75% higher. And as we speak, the European markets also have opened in a fair amount of green. Yesterday, they closed in the green despite going off the high point of the day. The Italian index, that one should come up for you. Remember, yesterday it closed in the red after opening a fair amount in the green. It gave up about 1.8% from the top, but right now it's opened with a gain of close to around 0.33%. So we'll keep an eye out on the global markets. Remember, the global markets are fairly in the green terrain, but our weakness is exaggerated, more so even in the mid-cap space. But let's move on. CNBC caught up with former RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan from the sidelines of the Nomura conference, where he spoke about trade and tariffs, the US economy, much more. Here's a slice of that conversation.
At this point, the biggest risk is the combination of rising interest rates and some untoward action on trade. I think it's the perception that with all the leverage that's out there, interest rates rising are already an issue that we'll have to deal with, but that's out there. The great uncertainty is what happens with trade. If we have a trade conflagration in the next few months, that could really hamper the global economy. The latest news suggests the U.S. economy is actually strengthening, is doing better, is actually doing quite well for an economy in its 92nd year of job creation. So my sense is the Federal Reserve is on a raising path, which it's not going to step off until it feels it's much closer to neutral. And I think most people would say neutral is between 2.75% and 3% at the short end. That means we're probably looking at 3 rate hikes this year, unless something really untoward happens in Europe or in some of the big emerging markets to create global turmoil. But it has to be really bad, in my view, for the Fed to step off this rate rising path. Certainly June appears baked in, but probably 1 to 2 more this year, after which the Fed may start looking around.
All right, so that was Raghuram Rajan. Let's take it straight to the big story of the day, and Biocon is the stock which is in focus, though at this point it is close to the lowest point of the day and is getting along with the market weakness that we are seeing. So 0.5% down on that one. But remember, in a big boost for Biocon, US FDA approves Biocon Myelin's application for biosimilar pegfilgrastim. Ekta Batra has been tracking that development very, very closely. Joins us with more details. Ekta, what does this really mean for the company?
Well, yes, it was quite a milestone development for Biocon and Myelin. Biocon has received approval for its biosimilar pegfilgrastim, or the biosimilar version of cancer drug Neulasta. Now, remember that the market size of this particular drug in the US is around $4 billion, so they can possibly make up to around $60 to $70 million in terms of annualized revenue, and hence they could probably get up to around $10 to $20 million in terms of profit addition, at least in the first year, assuming facing limited competition. This is an important opportunity for Biocon since it is the second biosimilar that they have received approval for in the US just in the past couple of months. The first one being trastuzumab or Herceptin, and this is the first biosimilar approval that has been received in the US for Neulasta, and hence it would give them a first mover advantage in the market as well.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for that, Ekta. An important opportunity for Biocon. And on that note, we also spoke with Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, the CMD of the company, Rajiv Malik of Mylan, on pegfilgrastims US FDA approval. Let's listen into what they had to say.
For Biocon, this is a huge milestone because we are the first to be approved as a biosimilar. And obviously, we believe that there is a large opportunity and have the first mover advantage as well. FY19 for sure.
It's a huge moment for Mylan Biocon partnership because more importantly, it validates our science. It validates our commitment to affordability and accessibility. And we are very excited to get another first in US market. We are looking forward to bring this product to the market, launch this product in the market in the following few weeks. And as far as the size is concerned, it's going to be different as compared to the commodity generics.
All right, just take a look at HDFC. That stock has perked up and is inching towards the high point of the day, giving a lot of momentum to the markets right now. But we'll slip into a short breather currently on the show. Up next, remember, we'll get you a snippet of an exclusive conversation with Ridham Desai of Morgan Stanley on India's macros and India's growth.
Welcome back. The cuts in the mid-cap space, a couple of these IT stocks, mid-cap IT stocks should come up for you. After a lot of rally from the start of this year, we're seeing some bit of profit taking come by on the likes of NIIT Tech, pull up something like a Hexaware or Infibeam as well. So all of them are seeing some bout of profit taking and extended cuts, especially in the mid-cap front. Also the stocks which have moved. And talking about the stocks which have not moved, they have extended their cuts. The likes of REC should come up for you as well. Down 30% this year, continues to see selling pressure, is at the low point of the day. A large part of that could also be on account of the additional surveillance measures that have been imposed by SEBI. A lot of stocks are under pressure in lower circuit in today's trading session because of that. Sonal Sachdev, our head of research, is here to explain what exactly this means. Sonal.
Yeah, hi. Like you mentioned, a certain section of the mid caps are under pressure because of the additional surveillance mechanism, which means exactly that. Besides the other mechanisms that exchanges have to control price volatility and extraordinary price movements, this is an additional surveillance mechanism that has been put together by SEBI and the exchanges. And they use objective parameters to try and evaluate the stocks that get into this. What's imposed is a 5% band on trading, a 5% circuit. And there's a 100% margin on trades. I mean, that's the big one, because anybody wanting to trade in any of these stocks requires to pay 100% margins. Now, that just completely kills volumes and trading activity in this. And people would prefer to, trade in other stocks than in these stocks because you need to put so much money up front there. And that is sort of hurting, these stocks in the mid caps. And there are, names like Dilip Bilkon, there's HEG, there's Radico Khaitan. It's not that, there's fundamentally, it's no there's no, comment on the fundamentals of the stocks in this. It's just that they perhaps seen irregular price movement, and now they are being punished for this.
So arresting market volatility to some extent. But Sonal, I must say that in this market, while there is just huge amount of volatility and negativity on the mid-cap side, every bit of negative news is really getting punished. In fact, I don't know what's happening with DHFL. That's one stock which is suddenly on a free fall mode at this point. So take a look at that particular counter, in fact, and we will find out what's really happening on that particular counter, because it's not on on the ASM list. So almost 2.5% down on that particular counter. But another pocket which is also making a lot of news as far as stock impact is concerned. Let's shift focus to that, and that's debt-ridden cases under the IBC and market regulator SEBI. And market regulator SEBI has, remember, relaxed the requirements to comply with the delisting norms for companies facing insolvency proceedings. And according to a notification on 1st of June, SEBI says that the resolution plan has to lay down the procedure for delisting that particular entity from the exchanges, or that the plans provide an exit option to the existing public shareholders at a specified price. Now, according to SEBI, the exit for the shareholders should be at a price that is not less than the liquidation value. Remember, more than 750 entities, including many listed firms, are really facing insolvency proceedings. But remember, in fact, take a look at those particular counters. They have been really reeling under pressure, because some of the experts I spoke to did say that if there is no equity value left in the company, then the equity shareholders may be asked to exit without being paid, is what the experts have to say and how they opine and read into this particular development. So we still have to see. Binani Cement was one case which had equity value on the table. Besides that, others did not. But we are also in an environment of huge competitive bidding for some of these assets as well. So these particular stocks really under pressure, Mangla.
All right, a lot of uncertainties. So in times of uncertainty, we get in market opinions. So let's get in some market opinion. Earlier today, we spoke exclusively with Ridham Desai of Morgan Stanley to get a sense of what he and the foreign investors make of the markets and the earnings this season gone by. Listen in.
Foreign investors have been pulling money out of India. Their overweight position in India has declined. We're at 2011 levels. They're still overweight, but it has come down significantly. So you can tell that they have been persistently disappointed by India's lack of growth, and they're stepping aside. Surprisingly, in the month of May, and counterintuitively, India actually outperformed emerging markets. So let's see how that pans out. My view is that India will outperform for the rest of the year. We've been in a deep earnings recession. This has been the worst earnings recession in India's history. I feel now we have kind of come to a bottom. Revenue growth has been accelerating for the past 6 quarters. Even for this quarter, the revenue growth for various cuts of the market is somewhere between 12 and 15%. So that's a very robust revenue growth. What's not happened as yet is that margins have not recovered. And you know, as I think you were discussing this on your TV program yesterday, bulk of this pressure is in the corporate banks. So if you X out the corporate banks, then I think earnings have actually inflected already in the upward direction.
All right, another news development. Former Finance Minister P. Chidambaram today appeared before the Enforcement Directorate in connection with the Aircel Maxis money laundering case. Timsi Jaipuria joins us with all the details of the development there. Timsi.
Well, I'm here at the ED headquarters in Delhi, where former Finance and Home Minister P. Chidambaram has appeared today before the investigating officer to give for questioning under the Aircel Maxis deal. Remember, ED had issued fresh summons to P. Chidambaram to appear before the investigating officer for the questioning regarding the allegations that are there against him for illegally giving clearance to the Aircel Maxis deal when he was chairman of the FIPB board. Not just that, the ED has already questioned twice P. Chidambaram's son Karti Chidambaram in the similar case. And to be precise over here, questioning is still underway as I speak to you. And yes, what sources indicate that he's being questioned for his role as FIPB chairman when he gave clearance to this deal under the PMLA Act. So ED is questioning right now. Officers are investigating and preparing grounds. And yes, right now the questioning is underway. It is likely to last for a few more hours. We'll keep you posted.
All right, MC, thanks a lot for that. With that, we'll slip in a short break, come back, we get you more on the markets and individual stock-specific action only on Business Lunch. Stay tuned.